Now, we're talking about care this morning, and I'm really glad we are, because all the statistics show we are failing our most vulnerable children who've been in care. So children who either don't have a mum or dad, or don't have a mum or dad who's capable of looking after them, or, frankly, don't have a mum and dad who want to look after them. And it's important to say that directly, because that is the starting point for these kids: rejection and feeling abandoned. And they're more likely to end up in prison, they're more likely to end up homeless, and they're more likely to die before they're 25 years old as well. This is a failure of multiple government departments, but it's also a failure of housing, and particularly what happens when kids leave the care system. And that's why I'm really glad to be talking to Alison McGovern today, who's the Minister in charge of local government. She's also of homelessness, so hopefully she might be able to look at this and do something about it as well. Thank you for being with us. We've been talking this morning about children in care because of this awful story about this girl who killed herself. And it does seem that a lot of these failures around housing, particularly what happens after kids leave the care system as well, is it something that you're kind of working on and aware of?
Yes, it is. And I just want to say from the outset that I will look at the details of this case that you've raised, because it is absolutely heartbreaking. And also, if the coroner has made any points that the government must act on, then we must look at those urgently as well. I think the care system, we know, as you said before, not all of our kids succeed through that care system, and that has got to change. The former Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, had already established a group of ministers working together because, as you pointed out, it's not one government department on its own. So she'd already brought those ministers together, and that work's now being taken forward by Bridget Phillipson. And we need to make sure that services that are supposed to support children in care don't suddenly drop off, particularly when a young person reaches 18. And I want to make sure in our homelessness strategy that we're going to publish shortly that we will be able to do more to try and provide consistent housing and support with it.
On the homelessness, I was looking at the stats from Centrepoint. Up to 30% of homeless people have been in care. So
it's dreadful.
It's
massively
overrepresented.
So the first thing that we need to do is to make sure that that parenting that happens for, the kids in care are all of our kids. They belong to all of us collectively, and we need to make sure that that quality of parenting is much better. And Josh McAllister, who is our minister in charge of this, is working on improvements. He conducted an independent review, and he's working on improvements that can be made so that that quality of parenting is there. And then I want to make sure through the homelessness strategy, as I said, that we don't have these points where help and support just falls away for some arbitrary reason, and I think we can make progress on that.
There are some things that campaigners are calling for, in particular, amendments to the Children's Wellbeing in Schools Bill to make care experience a protected characteristic, like disability is. Is that something that you'd support?
I support making sure that we take account of it, and I'll look at what the campaigners are saying. I think of my own local authority, where they've tried really hard to employ children who've been looked after in the council to make sure that they get a job and to take extra account of that care experience as they're doing so. So there is good things happening already, but I'll look at what campaigners say and we'll see what we need to do there.
Thank you very much indeed. You're here to talk about your plan for local councils. You want to be getting kind of tough on local councillors for misconduct. What's the idea here? How many people are we talking about?
So the issue is that since 2011, the existing standard system, so the rules and regulations, were swept away. If a councillor now is charged with something, perhaps even quite a serious offence, which doesn't happen very often, but it can happen now and again, the council has no teeth in taking steps to suspend them or, the sort of normal things that would happen in work.
So it's not like being an MP, basically, is what you're saying?
Or any other normal job where there would be, conduct that would be expected of you at work. So we're going to bring that legislation back so that there will be rules and that councils will have teeth. They'll be able to take steps to suspend or to stop the money that's paid to councils.
And how do you stop it being, kind of vexatious? Like, the Labour and Tories don't like this reform character, so we'll, do X, Y, Z. What's the protection there?
Yeah, so there'll have to be protections on both sides for the complainant and for the person being complained about, and we'll have a national appeals mechanism as well. But the point is, this is a really important step to restore trust in local democracy. So honestly, sometimes I ask myself at the moment, why would anyone be a local councillor at the moment? You know, you've had 15 years of town hall austerity, and we've got this issue with standards. And I think we've got to find a way to really value our councillors yet again.
Can I just ask you quickly about prisons? Because David Lammy is giving a statement later on the number of people being out of jail by mistake. And it is pretty staggering, to be honest. It's gone up under Labour. 262 prisoners released in the year to March, up from 115 the previous year. I mean, is this a bit of an acknowledgement that he could have been a bit more transparent last time when he was asked 5 times about it and didn't say anything?
So I think the issue at Prime Minister's questions previously was that the facts weren't all established, and so he, you know, represented the situation as it was known about at the time.
Is that right? He knew, didn't he, that someone was out of jail?
Well, I'm sure David will, you know, answer questions from MPs in the Commons later. In the end, this issue comes back to the prisons crisis that we faced when we came into office. The Tories barely built any prison places at all.
It's gone up alarmingly in the last year, though, hasn't it?
In order to deal with this situation, we need to build more prison places and enact our sentencing review that will make sure that we manage people's offences properly.
I'm just going to squeeze one very quick one in. You're a big fan of Liverpool. What's gone on this season? Are you going to turn it around?
Well, we had a great time against Real Madrid. That was a fantastic game. I think the team's going through a bit of transition, but I have absolute faith in Arnie Slot. He will sort it out.
OK, good to have you on the programme. Thank you very much indeed, Alison.